Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back, and how lucky are we here tonight to have the chance to speak with some Survivor royalty. I'm so excited to get the chance to reconnect with the great Jerri Manthey. Jerri, how are you?
Oh my gosh, what an intro. Thank you so much for calling me. What was it, a classic?
Yes, I think a classic. Yeah, is that not the right word?
No, I think that's pretty dead on. I mean,
Yeah.
we're the OGs.
Well, to me, like it's very special because to me, like you are one of the OGs. I remember how excited I was to first meet you back in 2003. I was so excited, and I remember that we had lunch. I was so thrilled.
we did have lunch.
Yes, yes. And it was very memorable for me, not just getting to see you, but it was a couple days after my finale, and we got to meet up, and I got to have some one-on-one time with you, and I was just so over the moon. And we went to the Carnegie Deli.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you remember that.
Yes, yes, and it was very notable, and we even had a run-in with Ryan Seacrest.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and you had met him before.
Yeah, I did gone on a couple of dates with him. In
Mhm.
fact, yes. Story
Yeah.
never gets old, does it?
Yes. Yeah. And no, it was just such a thrill. And then we went to then it was just a couple days later that then I saw you at the upfront, and they announced the Survivor All-Stars.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was fun. The upfronts that year, those were.
It was a big surprise to me because I didn't even know that there was going to be a Survivor All-Stars.
Yeah, that they were really good at keeping things pretty secret back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe not so much, but I did not know that that was going to be a thing. And it was a wild week. But yeah, I really appreciated that you made some time for me then, and certainly made some time for me now.
Oh, well, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was equally excited to meet you too back then and now.
Yes, and reconnect. And it's even especially a delight because I happen to be rewatching Survivor Heroes versus Villains this
Oh,
spring, which it's also the 15-year anniversary of Survivor Heroes versus Villains. So we have been going back and rewatching that season. So I've also been, experiencing the getting some Jerri Manthey in my life, even now.
I mean, if you're gonna watch any season, I think that's a good one to watch for
Yeah.
sure. Have you
And
gone back to watch season 2 by any chance?
I did when we did during the COVID year when we had no Survivor. We did a countdown of the 40 weeks of we ranked all the seasons, and I did go back to Survivor, the Australian Outback. I will say,
Say
on the
it.
rewatch, I would say it's a little slower than I remember in the real time.
Yeah, it's very hard for me to watch because a lot of the things that happened that season would not fly
Yeah.
now with the new like everybody kumbaya stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's so funny. Someone just came up to me yesterday at a winery. I live in
Yeah.
Napa Valley now. And he's like, "Oh, it's Jerri, the villain. I'll always remember you as the villain. You're so good at being a villain." And I said, "Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Name one thing I did that was villainous."
Yeah.
And he couldn't answer me. Like, and
Mhm.
if you go back and watch that season, I didn't do
Yeah.
anything villainous. I've never even lied to anybody, Rob, in 3 seasons as a villain. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
But there had been at that point in time when you all went to go play, I think that there had been exactly like, the real world people, and then 16 people were from Survivor. And then here comes everybody meets Jerri, and then they just ran with it of like, okay, this is the villain, and just everybody get on board.
And they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like I know that Jeff has gone on record now of saying that they no longer believe in the hero and villain roles in the show. But back then, it was like they almost looked specifically for those two characters to be filled every season. But I didn't do anything villainous on that season, and I'll stand behind that. In fact, go back and watch it. I'm the one who got bullied. Like they really bullied me. Like it was very hard for me to watch it. A couple years ago, I revisited it. It was so triggering, and it was very hard for me to accept that I'm the one who got bullied, but I got turned into the villain. It's so bizarre.
What do you think it was about you? Where I was thinking about this a little bit, leading up to this interview, and I just feel like that I'm trying to think back to like why for so many people did it resonate that this is somebody who could be labeled a villain. And I'll tell you my stupid theory, and you tell me if you think of anything.
Okay.
But I just feel like that, as compared to Tina, who I think was sort of like the, woman who was like, okay, going along with like, nice. And then to have somebody who was like, not afraid to upset the apple cart a little bit and to have a different opinion. I think especially in society at that point in time, that was not necessarily something that was celebrated. Somebody who's willing to like question things, even a little bit.
No, I mean, a short answer to that is I was a woman. So I was an easy target to be villainized. And it was a different era. It was before #MeToo. It's before it was okay for women to stand up for themselves and speak their mind. And I just, I've always been that way. That's what I told Jeff recently. I was like, I'm consistently me. I will always present who I am without any filters. I've gotten a little bit more gentle with my words, and I've learned to choose them more wisely, but I'm still the same person. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you still keep up with all these survivors and everything with Survivor in the New Era?
I do, actually. I quit watching, I think, after Heroes and Villains. So I didn't watch quite a few seasons until the Winners at War. And wow, what a disappointing season that was.
Why was it disappointing?
Well, I mean, there's a long laundry list there, but the fact that all the OG players got picked off first, and there was just a lot of very strange moves made by them. It was almost like they were still trying to play the way we used to play in a different time. It was it was a very disappointing season. And I think I really wanted Natalie to win that season.
Oh, okay.
She was the first one voted off and went to that island and literally survived there by herself the entire time and kicked everyone's asses. Like, I still think she should have won that season.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. Because a lot of people, Jerri, would be, purists from the, back in the day of that. We didn't have Edge of Extinction. And so that's interesting to hear you say that, you welcome it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm enjoying, the reason why I think I'm enjoying the new era now is 1.5 hours, and you get some backstory. And quite frankly, I'm jealous that we didn't get to share our backstory and become human beings, which is what I was trying to say when I got booed off the All-Star reunion.
Yep, I remember.
I was trying to make the point that now is exactly what I wanted out of Survivor. Like, I feel like maybe because of what I said and how the visceral reaction people had to what I was saying, that kind of helped shape what's happening now. I feel like I'm a part of that.
Okay. Well, let's say hypothetically, we saw you in the new era and we saw a backstory about Jerri Manthey. What would we be seeing in your backstory?
A very determined, passionate person who literally left her whole life behind to move to LA to become an actress without fear, without trepidation, without knowing anybody. And I think it would have helped people understand me a little bit more in that when I want something, I go for it. And that's just who I am.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
it wouldn't be a tragic story about horrible things that have happened to me because that seems to be more the route they go now.
Yeah. But okay, so I feel like I don't really know that part of your backstory. I know that your background is your dad was in the army, right? And you moved around a lot when you were younger. But I don't know the part of the story when you first went to California.
Oh, well, I mean, I was an actor since I was 9 years old. I was in theater,
Mhm.
and that's like my true passion even to this day. And so at some point, I knew I was going to have to move to LA. I knew it. And the chain of events occurred. I met a manager. I was living in Florida. He said, "When do you want to move to LA?" I said, "Right now." And he was like, "Well, hold on. I need to get out there first."
Yeah.
And I just picked up and I moved across the country. I had this really beautiful bonding experience with my dad in the car on the way there.
Oh, he drove you?
Yeah, I was going to drive myself. And my parents were like, "Okay, if this is what you want to do, your dad wants to drive with you across the country to make sure you get there." And I was like, "Oh my God, it's fine. I'll drive and I'll pull over on the side of the road when I get tired and sleep in the car."
Yeah.
But yeah, my dad drove there with me and it was amazing. And then I got to LA and I hit the ground running. Like I started getting crazy auditions. I had a manager, I had an agent. Like it was instant for me. There was no lull in trying to figure out how to make it work. Everything just fell into place.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was actually gaining some real momentum. And then Survivor happened. And I thought that was going to be the catalyst for the next level and next tier of my career. And in a lot of ways, it totally squashed everything.
Yeah. Because that when you're an actress or actor, the audience wants to get lost in the story, but then it's like, hey, oh, there's this person from Survivor in the middle of the movie. And that they, for whatever reason, weren't willing to do that.
I think it was also, to be quite honest, that people had villainized me to such a degree that people in the industry didn't want to work with me. Like they actually believed that I was this horrible person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I had a lot of awful interactions with people on the streets, like people cursing at me and like calling me a bitch in traffic. And like some really crazy things happened after I did Survivor. So in some ways, in retrospect, I feel like it kind of crushed my dreams.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things came out of it. I won't complain, but now I can look back on it and go, I was actually getting somewhere. Like right before Survivor, I was in a movie with Vincent D'Onofrio, Gary Sinise, Tony Shalhoub, Paul Sorvino directed it. Like it was a big movie on Showtime. And I was like, moving up towards getting somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
and then you have all this reality TV notoriety, which, now like somebody that has that kind of notoriety could probably really like monetize it and do a lot with it. But I just feel like but your personality, I feel like, is not that of somebody who is like looking for like that kind of reality TV notoriety.
No, not at all. Like I would love to get back into the world of acting and, start working up that ladder again. But it kind of pigeonholed me and I haven't been able to get out of that. And so right now I'm like, well, shoot, I guess I should just embrace it if that's the only thing I can get. But I mean, I would love to do Traders. Everybody keeps telling me like, oh, you need to do Traders. I'm like, I would love to do it. But I'm also in this weird place where, they're looking for the newer players. And I don't know.
Not always the case. I mean, I feel like I've seen some of your tribe mates from Survivor Heroes versus Villains on the Traders recently.
Yes. Yeah.
A few of them.
I know. So, and they've all recommended the producers get a hold of me. So I'm just like, I would totally do that.
You know what? I was thinking about this earlier of, to spend this time talking with you. I don't know if I ever got to talk to you about that. You were on a part of like one of the first reality experiments with all these people from these other shows in that you went to go do the Surreal Life.
I did season 1.
Yeah.
Which was the only season to me that I think was watchable. The other ones were kind of a circus.
Yeah. And just in case, that there are some of the younger viewers who may not know what this is, but it was like the first show that took like people, a bunch of like famous people, and they lived in like a house with a bunch of cameras.
Yep. I was there with Corey Feldman, MC Hammer, Vince Neil, Gabrielle Perez, Emmanuel Lewis, Brandy Roderick. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I also did Joe Schmo.
Yes.
Which I just recently realized that Kristen Wiig.
Yes. The doctor.
She was on the season I was on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, look at her now. Like she got out of reality TV. Look at that. Good job.
Well, she I think that she like got injured or something like during the filming of it.
I heard about that. Yeah.
I think she was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm tapping out of Joe Schmo. But let me ask you your thoughts on, so Survivor 48, we're down to like only 8 people now. Do you have any thoughts about this group of people that are playing this season?
I do. I actually met some of them recently.
Yes. How did you meet them?
So Ben Katzman invited me out to LA because he was doing an improv show.
Yes, I saw this.
And so he invited a bunch of other survivors. It was such a cool night. They pulled a bunch of people up on stage to play improv, and Ben like made them put a spotlight on him, and he's like, it's now story time. And he went on and on. This next survivor that I'm calling up to the stage is one of the, he laid it on so thick, and it was so, I almost started crying. He said the most lovely, amazing things about me, and then brought me up on stage, and I played some improv games with everybody. It was a fun night for me just to have someone like, appreciate the old days, it's always nice to see that.
Do you do any improv?
I used to. I actually did sketch comedy for several years. I was part of an all-girl sketch comedy group called Blow Girls. And then I was at Second City for a while. We did a show called TMI instead of TMZ.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I miss the stage so much. It's like just being back in LA for that event was really fun for me. But I got to meet David.
Yes. Okay. And he's the man of the hour this week as he got voted out.
Yes. And actually, I did want to say something about that. So there was a comment. It was kind of just thrown off the cuff during the episode. And I'm trying to think. I think it was Kyle, who I just think is so smart. He said something like, David's trying to play like the Boston Rob game where he won't let anybody walk away and no one's allowed to talk to anybody. Yeah. And I was like, amen. Thank you for calling that out, because I have my own opinions about Boston Rob. I'll share them if you want. But I cannot stand that controlling, just overly aggressive bullying game. He used the word bullying, and that I just cannot get behind at all. Because I've been a victim of that, both with Rob and with Russell in the same season. And anytime I see that, it's very triggering for me.
Yeah. I know. Well, I just was watching in Heroes versus Villains where, but ultimately that it was you who you got out Rob in that game.
Yeah, I did. So that's what happens when Rob plays against other players who know how to play the game. Because if you put him up against all of his biggest fans, of course he's going to win that season. But he can't win when he's playing with people who are seasoned professionals.
Yeah, well, in that Villains Tribe, you also were there with Coach. And David, I think, got some Coach comparisons this season about wanting to play with the honor, integrity, loyalty, try to keep that alliance. How do you react when you hear that?
I think it's naive. I think it sounds great in theory, but eventually everyone has to turn on each other. Like, it's just part of the way it works. I don't think there's ever been a season where everybody who's playing 100% honestly gets anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. I appreciate that that's what they're saying, but what I don't appreciate is that they're pulling this, the big tough guys got to stick together and make it to the end and stop being meat shields. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. David's had it that he's not going to have these, the guys just picked off anymore.
Well, I will say this. He's really hot.
Oh, okay, Jerri.
Yeah, he sat next to me in the theater and I was like, I grabbed his arm, was like this big around. I was like, oh my God. I had to fan myself.
Jerri, did you hear the story though about that? He said that he had a girlfriend and his girlfriend said to him, yeah, if you don't win Survivor, we're going to break up. That's what he said.
Oh, he didn't tell me that story. Because I asked him, I said, where's your girlfriend? He was like, oh, well, that didn't work out. But he had
Why? Well, he didn't want to give you a spoiler, Jerri.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. It was very sad.
Well, then he chose poorly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well,
he already found a new girlfriend, some other girl from Survivor. I can't remember her name, but yeah.
All right. Well, we want to ask for the blind item.
The blind item.
Of that. This is like you're back to not TMZ of breaking the news of who David is dating.
Oh, I can't remember her name. She's from a previous season.
That's fine. No, you don't have to. You don't have to give it away.
She's very cute. I didn't even recognize her because you know how people look so different when they have makeup on and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think about the Joe and Eva duo?
I flip-flop back and forth with that one.
Yeah.
Like I think Joe is being very naive and thinking that he can just go the whole way through it. The two of them side by side, they're obviously going to be a threat. Or they are a threat. But there's a twinkle in his eye. He's got a devious side to him that I think we haven't quite seen yet.
I thought it was so interesting, the conversation that David had with Joe when David told Joe that, hey, you went back on your word. And Joe like instantly said, hey, no, I didn't. I don't do that. I'm not capable of doing that.
You saw that shift, right?
Yeah.
He got very bristly. Yeah. He's got another side to him that we haven't seen.
Yeah. Do you think that will come out at some point?
Yeah. I mean, I think we saw a little hint of it, but I think he's capable of playing a pretty devious game. But I think nowadays people are just trying so hard to not come off villainous that it's almost kind of inauthentic. And that's what I see sometimes with these people who are like, oh, we're going to play an honest game. Like David too, like honest, but then how honest is it to be so controlling of people?
Well, why is it, do you think, that people are trying so hard to not be seen as playing a dishonest game?
Because they want to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's it.
I think it's part of this new era and this culture we're living in right now. People don't like people to not like them, and they censor themselves. I think we were a little bit more raw in the beginning. We're just like, who cares? But they've probably seen the heroes go a lot further after the show than the villains is what I've seen it.
Yeah. Do you think that part of it is like a self-selection by the show, that they are not like looking for the people who, are the people who like might be looking for a little bit more of that heat?
Looking for what? Attention?
Like that type of, that are looking to like make their mark by being a villain.
Yeah, I think they're purposely picking people who are like, oh, I'm a nice person and I'm going to play an honest game. I think they are, and I think the pendulum has swung. I think it's time for us to kind of find a middle
A
ground.
medium.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Now, I was thinking about this earlier today also of that, we play 26 days in the new era, but you were a part of the only season that was 42 days. Could you imagine? I mean, it's closing in on 2 seasons.
I know. It's crazy. Like I could do 26 days in my sleep. Give me a break.
But they say it's harder because they don't get food.
What are you talking about? They're not even losing weight. Every time someone says, oh, this is way harder than the old school, I'm like, no, it's not. You guys haven't even lost any weight. They're always eating coconuts and almonds and papayas and like all these different things. We didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Like, remember?
I recall. Yes. Yeah.
Although you were in the Amazon, there was probably more things to eat there.
Well, we had like a staple of like the manioc. It's like basically like rice. You know what it is from your extensive like culinary background. But we had like some like a barrel of stuff to like work off of, and they don't get that now. But on the All Stars, they didn't give us anything to start.
No. And that was when they tried to tell us that the well water was infested with worms that could eat your brains.
Yes.
And we had to boil it, even though Rudy was like, I'm not boiling that.
That's fine. He said, I drank water with bodies floating in it back in Vietnam.
Oh, Rudy. Don't we miss Rudy?
I miss Rudy because I spent so much time with Rudy also. Because I went away for a long time with Rudy and Tina, Jerri. That was my experience at Survivor All Stars.
Oh, right.
And I'm also like, I get very worked up about this because I was like, when I went out in Survivor All Stars, I was like, okay, well now I'm gonna get to see everybody from the pre-jury, and then after what happened with Rich and Sue, they broke us up, and then they just sent me and Tina and Rudy and Rich somewhere. And then it was you and Colby and Ethan went somewhere else. And I think where you went was much better. It's like, what the hell?
I almost moved there. It was Sayulita, Mexico.
Yeah.
It was a really sweet spot before it was cool. I loved it.
Yeah, I would have much rather done that. We went to, look, I know a lot of people like it. We went to Patagonia, we went to it's like the bottom of Argentina, and it was freaking cold. And I just went on like day trips with Rudy and Tina. With all due respect, very nice people, but I was like 25 years old. That was I thought I was gonna get to hang out with the fun young people.
Well, just so you know, Colby and Ethan were not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know that they had been talking smack about me the whole season, first of all, but they both had girlfriends and they were both together every single day. I did my own thing. I got up in the morning and I made friends with all the locals. I bought the jewelry. I hung out and had coffees with the yoga people in town. I had a blast by myself.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That sounds nice. I did not have as much fun.
They should have sent you to come hang out with me because I would have loved it.
I would have loved it. I would have loved it. I drank a lot and, basically was just miserable. And then and Tina loved it. Tina was like, this is so fun. I'm put me out of my misery. I don't want to go fly fishing.
Oh, you don't like fly fishing?
Not really. We went on a horseback riding to hike up go horseback riding up a mountain, and Tina was like, "This is the best." I was like, Rudy would crack me up, but enough about me, Jerri.
No, not. I love talking about you.
Look, what else do you want to know?
So I just recently, I mean, not super recently, but I was on Instagram the other day
Yes.
and saw that clip that the
Yes,
All Winner Survivor posted.
Oh, what was it? What were we
Where
doing?
Jeff, we were at some all-star thing, and Jeff pointed out very
Oh,
poignantly
when Jeff said like let me see if Brandon can find the clip of this
and
yes.
then my reaction.
Yes, so it was the Survivor All Stars finale that you mentioned, the famous one at Madison Square Garden, and we then for somehow I don't even know how they did this. That then it was like it was the finale would go to like 11 o'clock at night. Then there was a party, and then somehow they got everybody to come out to be on the early show the next morning. Somehow I don't even know. It wasn't like that, we got paid to be on the early show or anything. Somehow it seemed like that they had like the whole cast there. And yeah, and Jeff was like hosting some kind of like second like reunion show.
I don't
interview.
even remember that.
I very
like, where
foggy memories of this also. And then, if Brandon's working on finding the clip, but yeah, I think that Jeff, and I did not get asked a question at the Survivor, and there was a lot going on. Maybe in Jeff's heart of hearts that there might have been like, all right, Cesternino, you good? Like I might have just got like a throw, but I didn't even get asked a question. There was too much going on that the people were, booing, everything with Boston Rob and Lex and Big Tom, and Rob proposed to Amber. So look, understandable they didn't get to me, but then Jeff brought it up the next day, and then I remember what he did like a dig at me.
It was horrible. I know. And you saw my reaction. I was like, instantly.
Okay, here. Hold on. Brandon has the clip. Okay, here. Let me see if I can show this. Okay. All Winner Survivor. I don't know where they get this stuff.
They're so good. I swear sometimes they put some things on their account. And I'm
here
like,
we go. All right. And I knew this was trouble when I said Jeff Probst shades Rob Cesternino. So here's everybody.
Everybody here was picked because we knew they would play this game all the way. Look at a guy like Cesternino. Didn't even talk to him last night in the live show. He made zero impact in this season. One of the most popular guys to play the game. Rob, it's true. Yeah. And he's still mad at me for not talking to him. But my point is, a great student of Survivor, right. Very funny, quick-witted, and yet you got 17 other people like Hatch and Rudy and Sheehan down there. Who'd think Sheehan would be this deep in the show?
How about that?
It was the way he worded it that it was just like, you made zero impact.
I mean, it's true, but you didn't have to say it like that.
I don't think so. Just you being there is an impact. You honestly, you don't have to say anything, but you should be on season 50, 1,000 freaking.
You should be there.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
But you
hopefully one of us makes an impact in this season.
I mean, honestly,
question at the reunion show.
I feel like you never got to come back and really showcase the skills you have. Like,
I was so sad. I really was after that. And look, it all, like, everything worked out fine. But, the me who's on the screen is very sad. Didn't need to get.
You look like a little boy in that.
I had really not that much else going on, Jerry. This was kind of going to be it for me, of like, I was going to come back and do really good. And then it didn't happen, and I made zero impact. And I knew that Jeff wasn't telling me anything I didn't already know. But didn't need to tell everybody on the early show.
No, it was harsh. It was harsh. I bet he regrets saying that. I would think.
I bet he probably has never thought about that ever again. But I think if you showed it to him, he might say that, like, besides maybe where's the lie, but he might say, like, oh, maybe he shouldn't have said that. Maybe.
Yeah, you were a very memorable player from that era that just never really got to show everyone how great you were. Like I thought for sure in the All-Stars you were gonna kill it.
Well, I think a lot of people might have thought that, and maybe that's what ended up happening to me. But I had a tough a tough group to start with. I mean, you mentioned Rob, but I didn't realize, when we went there, that your old friend Amber, like, I didn't know that this was going to be like a beautiful love story, and that they were going to like fall in love in front of our eyes. And I know that you ultimately got the receiving end of this also. But I remember sitting there the first day, and I'm like, oh, well, this is like, they're making a very big mistake right now of like that they're just going to start dating in front of everybody.
Yeah. It's funny because on Heroes and Villains, Rob actually came up to me at some point when I was hanging out with Coach all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, Jerri, you know what happens to couples. You need to be careful. And I'm just thinking, yeah, I know what happens to couples. You can win. It
goes great.
It's like, shut up, dude. He was very threatened by me and Coach hanging out.
Well, especially, and we were in the first people that did 3 tribes. And now it's like it was novel when we did it. Now it's all they do.
Yeah, the All-Stars was the first time they ever did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I ask you this question? When you like went to Survivor All-Stars and you went there with your tribe, right? Did you have any, did it even occur to you that the people that you were with all this time before the game started was going to be your tribe?
No.
No.
Why did you?
No, I didn't think that. I was like, oh, this is it.
I'm one of those very strange, weird people who, like, if by chance there's a rumor floated that we all might have a returnee season, I don't actively go out and try to find out who's coming back or whatever. Like, I don't do that because I think it bites people in the ass. And Heroes and Villains was a great example of that because there was some pre-gaming that happened that blew up in everyone's face. And I think it's silly because you don't know there's all these factors involved of when you get out there, what's going to happen. So,
yeah. But I'm talking about like that, literally like the people that you flew to Panama with. That was because we were with our literal tribes, like traveling there.
I don't even remember that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was like with like all those people for like 5 days before the game started, and then it's like, wait, this is it. These are the people.
We did the photo, didn't we? For TV Guide or something like before we went out there. Didn't we?
I guess so. We did take a picture together. So I don't know what I was thinking. I don't like, okay, they're not real. This isn't really going to be my tribe though, right?
Oh man, I got totally screwed on that one too.
Yeah.
we didn't win anything. That was such a hard season. I almost quit. Do you remember that whole storm?
I remember the very bad storm. You said it's not worth it.
No, because the camera guy ran away. There's no footage of that entire night.
Yeah. Very bad lightning there in Panama.
Yeah, my hair soaking wet was like levitating, and we were all like singing songs and like trying to keep each other from losing our minds.
And I believe that was also the same day that Rupert was building the underground shelter.
It had been completed at that point. And when the storm rolled in, I, thank God, had the foresight to tell everyone to wake up and get out of it. And right as we got out of it, the whole thing collapsed.
Oh my God.
You could have died.
Yeah.
Rob. And again, I was trying not to be the villain. So I
saved everybody's lives.
Huge fight. But yeah, we could have died that night. That still was so traumatic.
Yeah. And then, when we were rewatching Heroes versus Villains, there's, you guys play this game called Schmergen Brawl. Okay. It's basically like when you're like wrestling and it's basketball. And there's one point where Rupert like throws you on the ground.
Oh, right.
Do you remember this?
Yeah. He threw me up against the guard fence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes. And just like that this is not working out with you and Rupert.
No, it did not work out. My views of him have not changed. There's a lot of underlying, still floating around clashes of personalities to this day. So
yeah. So when we've been rewatching the Heroes versus Villains, and that the episode that was just 15 years ago was when Parvati plays the two idols at Tribal Council. It's a huge moment in the season and one of the biggest moments in Survivor history. And the heroes write down your name at that Tribal Council. Did you have any suspicion that they were going to be voting for you?
I had no idea, and it was actually my birthday.
Oh.
Yeah. But I think Russell that was kind of leading them to that? Yes, Russell was kind of leading them to vote for me, and then told Parvati to play his idol for me.
Okay.
So he didn't know that she had another one, and so she played that for Sandra first, and he was like, "What the hell, Parvati?" And then she pulled another one out. Yeah, that was a pretty monumental moment in Survivor for sure.
Yeah. I don't think that was in the episode that Russell was trying to get them to vote for you.
I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, we didn't have an hour and a half.
You didn't have an hour and a half, right?
Like there was so many great things that happened that never got shown because there just wasn't any time.
Yeah.
That's why. And now they're just, they film one episode, I think, in one day, and they get an hour and a half. Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. What was it like for you to deal with Russell in Survivor Heroes vs. Villains? Because it feels like that you don't seem to be, and maybe you're saying that you have this is your best acting work. You don't seem to be particularly annoyed with Russell, at least from any point that I can remember in the game. That was he a different guy out there?
Different from what?
I don't know. Well, I kind of feel like
the insane psychopath that he is. No, that's exactly who he was out there.
Yeah. But were you able to just deal with that?
No, it sucked. It was frightening. Like I have very keen sense for people who are dangerous. And I felt that, but I didn't ever let him know that I felt that way. Like this is again, we don't have an hour and a half. Like if someone had like pulled me over to the side and said, "It looks like you're getting along great with Russell and Parvati," I'd be like, "Oh, hell no. No, that's how the game I had to play." So like, this was part of what I was going to say at the end. When I made it to the end to win $1 million, was that from the very beginning, I never had an alliance. Like Coach and I were very close, and then they voted him off, and I was just by myself.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of float. And when I realized that Rob had absolutely no desire to pull me into his little clique, and I was not part of that group at all, and then Parvati and Danielle and Russell were over here, I just kind of had to figure out like, how can I go between the two and not, it was every day was like a challenge for me not to completely lose my shit. But I got really good at that point in my life to just kind of, the old Jerri would have been like, rah, rah, like starting arguments. But
yeah,
I learned how to win. That's why I want to go back at some point. I'm not going to lie. I do.
Yeah.
Because I know I learned how to win, Rob.
Yes. Okay. Well, I wish I did.
Oh God, I would love to see you go back.
Well, I would love that too. But we're talking about you, Jerri. So, and you were so close in that last challenge, right? You were like what? Like a hand away?
6 inches. 6 inches away from $1 million. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was really frustrating.
And then who would you have gone to the final? So if you have the immunity necklace, and then who Russell wins it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Won.
So you win the immunity, and then would you vote out Russell?
I don't know. I mean,
or do you want to sit next to him?
I had no idea how much he was loathed. by every single person that he voted out. We didn't know what was going on at Ponderosa, but apparently it was a lot. I probably would have kept Sandra and Parvati, to be honest, because they had both won $1 million. And at one point, I kind of had a female side alliance with the two of them.
Yes.
So, that would have been my argument, is that they both already won $1 million. And, well, there's a whole bunch of other things I was going to say.
Yes.
But I feel very confident that no matter who I would have taken with me to the end, I would have won, because I feel like I really proved myself that season on many levels.
Was that your favorite season that you played?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, in terms of figuring out what I needed to do to win quietly.
Yeah.
But Australia, despite how hard it is to watch that season, I had the most fun on that season. We had a canoe. We used to go out every morning in the canoe and go fishing, and crocodiles would be popping up all around us. Like, I loved Australia. It was very similar to the desert camping trips I used to take in LA. I had the most fun on that season, even though you never got to see it.
When you first ended up getting involved with Survivor, what was it about it that drew you to it?
Just the idea that I could be put into a really extreme situation and prove to myself what I was capable of. Because I tell people all the time that are like, "Oh, I could never do that." I'm like, you'd be surprised. Like, you find like this rhythm in daily life, in the most difficult place, in the most difficult situations, and somehow you're set up, or I am, I guess I should speak for myself. I'm set up for survival, and I'm a big outdoors person. And, I used to go out to the desert backpacking with just what I could take on my back and stay for like 3 days. Like, it seemed like the perfect opportunity for someone like me to really showcase what I'm good at.
Yeah. Why did you go out to the desert?
Well, I had a very secret spot. There were these hot springs, just a 2-hour drive outside of LA.
Yeah. And
it was just this magical spot, and people would congregate around the hot springs, but I was shown a spot that was like another mile past the hot springs, and it was very remote and very rugged. There's
How did you find out about this?
This guy that I was dating took me out there, and I fell in love with it. Like, I went out there, I think for probably 4 years. I would go out there every couple of months and just, go camping with just a backpack. But I love the desert, and, Australia, when they were like the Outback, I was like, oh, I pictured the red desert of Australia. I didn't realize it was the bush.
Right. I feel like, looking back at that season, I feel like that, it seemed like in the beginning, it seemed like kind of nice. And then it seemed like that as it went on, it seemed like less nice.
You mean Australia?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everything there is trying to kill you.
Yes.
And it was
and there were fires, right?
Yeah.
Also? Yeah.
Yeah, there was the crocodiles were real. That was real. We were living with crocodiles all around us. And then those fires blew through, and I just remember inhaling a lot of smoke every single day, just being like, my lungs. Australia is super rough. I think it's honestly one of the best locations to do that show. I have not watched any of the Australian Survivors, by the way.
Yeah, so they mostly film it actually in Samoa, where you were. I think that they did one season during COVID. I think they did one season in Australia.
They don't even shoot the Australian Survivor in
No, just like they don't shoot American Survivor in America. They do it all in they're always in Samoa.
That's so messed up. Samoa?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, they're in your old stomping grounds.
Yeah. There were no bugs there, by the way.
In Samoa?
Yeah, it was very bizarre.
Yeah.
The locals don't even go in the water there. They believe it's haunted.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very...
What do you think?
And there was definitely some spirits out there for sure. We experienced an earthquake while we were out there.
Yes. Okay.
That's my doorbell.
Yes. You have a visitor?
Yeah.
You need to go to the doorbell?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so we experienced an earthquake, and then after the season was over and we were all off the island of Samoa, a huge tsunami came and wiped out all of the entire production.
Oh my
of
God.
Survivor. Yeah. Yeah. Did you know about that?
I didn't know that. No.
It was like maybe a month or two after we left.
Yeah.
And they just completely wiped it out. The tsunami. Like, just think about that.
Yeah.
That could have been us, gone.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there hasn't been some sort of horrific natural disaster with as many times as this show's been on.
Yeah. Knock on wood, like Jeff said at Tribal Council with David.
Yeah. Wait, what did he say?
That he's like, David was like, hey, knock on wood. And Jeff's like, wait, hold on. You're knocking on wood? What? Oh. Yeah. Jerri, okay. Do you know what Club Condo is?
No,
Jeff keeps talking about Club Condo.
Oh.
I thought maybe it was like an LA thing.
No. I think it was, what was he referring to? The fact that they were all dancing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch that. I would think I might have been like eating dinner and watching TV at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think about the evolution of Jeff now in the new era?
Loaded question.
Because as like, he's gone through so many different evolutions, and I got to see a bunch of them from, I'm sure, like in Australian Outback, and maybe this isn't your lived experience, but at least for me as a viewer, he's a little bit more like, hey, the buddy, like, especially like, he's like, hey, like, this guy Colby seems pretty cool. Like, he's like almost like hanging out with the contestants. And then I'm sure by the time you come back in the All-Stars, he's really like claimed like a little bit more of like, hey, this is my show, all you,
Yahoos,
wisecracking kids. Like, it's, my way or the highway now. And then, obviously, then I think that he becomes, a producer by the time you're in Heroes versus Villains. But now, like, I feel like we're sort of like in the new era where, it's a little bit more of the Jeff, like, with a little bit more life experience.
Kids.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely gotten a little bit more soft.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the season where he calls out that he's been saying, come on in, guys.
Yeah.
And there's like this whole moment that occurs where he's
like,
like
that?
No.
No.
Not
a lot of people did.
Because honestly, like my relatives are from the Midwest. Everybody calls everybody guys. Nobody goes, oh my gosh, this is offensive. Mm-hmm. I just think that moment was a little blown out of proportion. And I know everybody's so sensitive now to things that just didn't bother us back in the old days.
Right. And I think it was also that it was like the show hadn't been on the air for a year because of COVID, and everybody was so excited, and so many people discovered Survivor during the pandemic and like, okay, great, we're fine. Survivor's finally back. And then it was like literally the first thing that they is like, all right, first order of business. We're going to, so that like he could just change it. Like, but I think that they were like sort of like feeling things out in the beginning of the new era. And I think that they're a little bit more comfortable with like what they want to do now.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of feels like a machine now. It's like a conveyor belt of contestants and seasons in the same location. And, every once in a while, something really interesting happens that you think, oh my God, I'm going to remember this forever. And then the season ends and then the next one starts and you forget it. Mm-hmm. It just feels the whole cadence of the way the seasons play out just seems so similar every season. And I get very confused with all of the advantages and the things. I'm like, at some point, I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand like the original way we played the game might be a little slow. I get that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, like there was just something nice about, getting to know people on a personal level a little bit more without all these weird advantage things.
Mhm.
Like the shot in the dark and and they might do this. And then by the time they get to tribal council, I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like,
Yeah. Well, I think that the show really wants everything to be exciting in terms of like, there's never going to be a vote where, okay, everybody is like, 6 people are all voting for this one person, and then there's nothing that they can do about it. And going into tribal council, what's definitely going to happen. So I think that they really are very worried about you getting a boring episode. But the audience, I think that they shouldn't worry about that as much because the audience isn't going anywhere.
No, it's like I remember in Australia one day, Keith says to all of us, he's like, hey, you guys, let's come up with something to argue about so we can create some drama for the camera today.
Wow.
And I
What a pioneer.
thinking to myself, I'm like, trust me, there's going to be plenty of drama without starting anything. Like, that's what I was thinking, because I just remember that. Like, there's always somebody who's trying to create something that's not organic. And that was the biggest mistake in the beginnings of reality TV, is the producers felt like they had to really manipulate things to create situations where, I think over time they learned, like, organically, just human beings being human beings. They're in a closed environment. You're going to get things naturally that are way more interesting than something contrived.
But I do think that part of the 26-day formula is that they want to keep everybody so busy so that there's never like a day of just downtime where nothing's happening. So I think that they feel like that they're going to program it, not necessarily make it contrived, but they're going to like program it so no matter what, like that there's going to be somebody's trying to open a puzzle while somebody else is like, working on this, so that the 90 minutes is always going to have like something that they can go to, even if there's no conflict happening.
Yeah. I understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, I'm sure you remember the way that we had every 3 days an episode, and there was only one day where nothing happened. Those days were like being tortured, which I think was also part of the experience.
Yeah.
And they would never let you know if that was the day that you're not doing anything. So all day long, you're like on edge, like, oh, are they going to pull us into a challenge? Or I think that just the mental games of that led into something that was also very interesting.
Yes.
That's just not there.
And that's, social game is such a big deal, and people would just get voted out more because you just couldn't stand the person, as opposed to, okay, everything was necessarily like a strategic move. But it's like you wake up when the sun comes up and it's like, okay, I guess we're all just going to stare at each other for the entire day today.
Yeah. And if you play Rob, you're not allowed to walk away without somebody following you.
Yeah. Jerri, besides Survivor, what else do you look at?
What do I like? What do I watch?
What do you watch?
Ooh, I am.
Because I feel like, if I have to guess, I feel like that you're not watching a lot of reality TV.
Not a lot.
Yes.
No, but I am thoroughly and absolutely 100% addicted to all of the Below Deck franchises.
Oh, okay.
I used to be a chef on yachts. And I will say this, that show is 1000% accurate to what it's like to work on a yacht.
Yeah.
I love all of them. 100%. Like, I look forward to actually watching that one.
Yes.
But other than that, no, mostly movies. And I can't wait for The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, okay. What is it, like the final season?
It is.
Yeah.
That is it. I recommend everyone go back and rewatch that from episode 1. That's a great show.
Yeah. Which Below Deck do you like? All of them?
All of them.
Yes.
Seriously, all of them. And there's so many now. If you've never seen any, boy, oh boy, you might as well just park yourself in your chair for a good month.
Now, what about The White Lotus? Did you watch that?
I love White Lotus. Yes.
Yes. Well, that's what I was thinking when you were talking about the tsunami. I'm sorry. I'm sure it was very sad, but that's all I could think of.
Oh, yeah, I love that show, and I would love to meet Mike White. I would love to get on the White Lotus. Like,
Yes.
In my perfect dream world, somebody out there is gonna watch this and go, "Oh my God, I didn't realize Jerri was still into the whole acting thing. Let's get her on X, Y, and Z." That would be my dream come true. But
for the White Lotus, or
yeah,
you're open.
Sure, but I mean, it's my passion, and I've moved away from LA. I had enough. I needed a break.
Yeah.
And I'm living a very quiet life in a barn and a vineyard right now. Yes. But I'm getting antsy.
Okay. Are you still doing any I'm trying to think of what the right verb is, that work as a personal chef?
Yes, I am still a private chef.
You still cook? Is it? Would you say cooking, chefing? What would you say?
Chefing, sure.
Chefing.
Yeah, I'm still chefing. Yeah, and I also produce events. One of the biggest ones, I produce a camp at Burning Man.
Yes. Yes. How was Burning Man this year?
Oh my God, this last year was magic. It was the best weather I think I've ever seen.
You didn't get stuck in the mud, right?
No, I was there that year.
Okay.
It sucked. It was the worst. It triggered me. It reminded me of the All-Stars.
Oh.
Mix in the BLM with guns.
Oh my God.
Scary. Yeah, it was like the apocalypse. Just the panic in the air. It was really frightening, and I don't think that those stories really made it out.
Yeah,
but I've been going for 23 years, and I can honestly say I still love it.
Yeah, and it's still is it getting bigger like each year, or is it like was there a peak of Burning Man?
I think it's hit its peak.
Yeah.
And I think that rain year, so last year, a whole bunch of people didn't go. Thousands of people didn't go, like maybe 10 to 15,000 people.
But isn't that good? Isn't that good? Like sort of like keep the riffraff out, the casuals.
Yeah. I mean, that rain should scare the crap out of you. It could happen at any time. And if you're not prepared for it, it was horrible. Mm-hmm. It was really bad. But I had tarped my entire camp. So we were standing on tarps the whole time instead of mud.
Okay. Look, better than the Rupert shelter.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I still keep myself very busy with things that I really enjoy. And, I don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Yeah. So just to go back to Survivor 48, do you have a winner pick?
Ooh. Kyle or Camille.
Okay. Has there been anybody in the new era that's really like resonated with you out of these new era seasons, the 90-minute episodes?
Yeah. Carla. I really love Carla.
Carla?
Yeah.
What was it about Carla?
She was a very strategic social player, and at some point her narrative switched and she got villainized, and I didn't understand why. And I reached out to her actually, and I said, "Hey, I see what's going on in the edit. Like, if you need to talk, please reach out." And we ended up meeting each other in person, and I gave her a big hug. But I just thought she was really great. She'd be great to see on season 50. Mm-hmm. And I picked Kenzie as the winner that season on episode 1. I knew it. I was like, Kenzie's going to get this. I really
saw something in her.
Yeah.
What did you see?
Just her ability to be likable, but also be strategic. Yeah. Like Kim Spradlin was another one that was very similar. Like, just everyone really liked her, and she killed it.
Yeah.
It makes me really sad that there's not more women that are remembered from years past. In fact, it kind of breaks my heart that that's the case, that all these men have all been pushed to be like the face of Survivor. I think it's done a great discredit to a lot of women in the franchise that deserve way more attention than the Ruperts or the Boston Robs.
Yeah.
There are just some women out there that
Give me
keep
some
getting
names. Who should people put more respect on their name?
100% Kim Spradlin. I
Kim
think she's
Spradlin.
one of the greatest players of all time. Like,
Yeah.
there's not a single person who has anything bad to say about her, and she's been very quiet about her success with that. And I've always loved her. And you know, as much as my rivalry with Parvati has been, you know, on the forefront of the Heroes and Villains season, you know, her calling me a bitter old cougar and me saying I'm going to.
But that was in the beginning. Yeah.
I respect the fact that she's dangerous. She's a dangerous player. I think.
For sure.
I think she's kind of evolved now into something a little more devious and less interesting. Like, I watched her on Deal or No Deal Island.
Gandhi, yes.
And I was very upset with her over what she said to manipulate the one guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like that Deal or No Deal Island?
I did, actually. Yeah. I watched it just because someone asked me if I wanted to be on it. So I was like, I don't know. I got to watch it first. But I'll tell you what, the math of the whole thing gets me so like.
No, you could follow it. You could follow it. It's fine. Okay. Let me ask you, besides us, who else should be on Survivor 50?
Oh man. Oh, Rocky. That's my dog.
Yeah. What kind of dog?
Hang on a second. Come here.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, she's gonna run away from me. Never mind.
Okay. I get a little dog.
Yeah, she's a Shih Tzu. She's the
Okay.
cutest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. She's my love. I love her so much it literally hurts. Season 50. I mean, there's so many old school players that I would love to see. Lex.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, you know, you talked about me that I didn't, but I feel like that Lex was somebody who, like, he never got to like have that third time
No.
where, you know, and especially he had such a story that I think that really would have been interesting to see what like a Lex 3.0 would have been. How did that experience with Rob change him as a player?
Yeah, and as a person, because
Yeah.
I know that whole situation really affected his life. And I still keep in touch with him. Sometimes we go down the road of memories of memory lane.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely one.
Because you were so involved in that part of the story also.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know if he had kept me instead of getting rid of Amber that time, it would have been me, Big Tom, and Lex in the final three. 1,000%. Like I had it wrapped. So depressing.
Yeah.
But hey, I got to spend, 3 weeks with Ethan and Colby and Sayulita.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. I guess there's a lot of people. I'd have to sit down and like really go through the list. But
now,
yeah.
Okay. This is a hard question, and you can pass on this.
Okay.
Is there anybody that you're saying to yourself, I hope they don't bring that person back?
Well, Russell, but I know they won't because he's a legal liability.
Yeah. Loose cannon.
Yeah, he's not right. And I think they know that. And
yeah,
I think, like I said, that era is gone. They don't want people who are mean, like outside of the realm of the game. Like there's the game, there's strategy, and then there's people who just attack people personally for no reason.
Yeah.
When I see that, I get so turned off. I just can't. I can't watch.
Yeah. All right. So people who are looking to cast their TV shows and movies, they're going to get a hold of Jerri.
Yes.
What else are you up to that people could check out?
I mean, you can always go to my Instagram. It's been very political lately. So
Yes.
if you're not looking for that, don't go there because I
Mhm.
speak my mind.
Yeah.
I am
Don't go
very
there.
passionate.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty much where I keep things updated is on Instagram.
hmm
I am very interested in Substack right now too.
Oh, do you write a newsletter?
No, I just found it
Are
recently.
you reading on Substack?
Yeah, it's a really interesting format.
Yes.
And I had a podcast for a while.
Oh,
Yeah, I did, and I really enjoyed it, and I stopped doing it for some personal reasons, but now I'm able to get back into it.
yeah. What kind
It's
of podcasting were you doing?
it was basically like blogging in a
Yeah.
podcast where I just sit down, like if things happen to me that really affect me or move me, I would just sit down and
Personal.
record a podcast. Yeah, a very personal account
And
of
you would
whatever.
share that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go on Spotify or Apple, whatever, you can see some of my old ones. I have some
Yeah.
old stories or like, yeah, it's just me chatting. I tried having a guest once, but this is all very technical. I would love to.
A little bit. I bet, you have like a million great Hollywood stories also.
I have so many good stories. Actually, one of my podcasts is about the night I met Ben Affleck.
Yes.
It's a good story.
Yes. I just feel like that you must have so many good stories. I mean, I remember being like a young person, like driving in my car and hearing you calling in on Howard Stern, talking to a different famous person that about relationships, like
Oh, and Loveline. I did Loveline a couple
yeah.
of times. Yeah.
I feel like you like knew everybody.
I did back then. It was very different. Like I think I did every talk show and radio show known to man during that time period.
Yeah.
I got to meet a lot of really interesting celebrity types, and I also chefed for quite a few.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why I so easily fit into that world is because I don't look at them like, I look at them like human beings who got
They're just
really
like us.
lucky. Yeah,
Yes.
somehow they met the right person who believed in them, and then their careers flourished. And so we're all just one step away from that. Really, is just meeting someone who believes in us,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah. It's just like that heroes versus villains immunity necklace that was right there.
Yeah,
We're all that close.
I
One
still have
phone
nightmares
call.
about that stupid challenge. I swear to God, I think about
Nice.
that
Well,
sometimes.
I didn't mean to bring it up.
Yeah, I could really use $1 million right now.
Yeah. Well, Jerri, is there anything else that's on your mind? I feel like that I hesitate to wrap this up because it's such a privilege to get to talk to you.
Oh, Rob, I feel the same exact way about you. I
Yeah.
do.
Well,
I
thank
feel
you
like
so much.
there's not many people from that era of Survivor that I really keep in touch with, or have like super fond memories of or levels of respect like I do for you.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you're doing this and you're successful at it. Like it's so awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And it made me so happy when I was in Boston and we posted like a video of like the RHAP meetup that we had, and you commented, "Hey, where's my invite?" Anytime.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
would be mobbed beyond belief.
Aw, I would love to do that with you. Let
Okay.
me know when.
All
Where?
right. Yeah, that wouldn't be too much if like all of like the fans were all like in like gathering around trying to selfie you into oblivion.
No.
Okay.
No, I love it. I think I mean I appreciate that people still remember me, and I get a lot of very supportive comments on my social media platforms, and it's really nice after everything I went through that was so negative. Like this is to have it come full circle is just really it's nice.
I think that the interesting thing is that like when it first happened, it was like, okay, The show was on, and then it was over, and then unless somebody had like a VHS tape, it was gone. There was no way you could go watch, like after Survivor, the Australian Outback was over, you couldn't go watch it a month later. Like that was it.
No.
Forget it. You could read
TiVo
about
wasn't
it.
even out yet. We didn't have TiVo.
They didn't have a DVD or anything. But now, like the way that like it's all with streaming, like there's a little bit of like immortality about it, of that, there's somebody somewhere who's watching Heroes versus Villains for the first time today.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Like I meet young kids that are like, oh my gosh, I finally saw season 2 and I wasn't even born yet. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Great. But it's also when they watch it and they're like, I don't understand why you were so villainized, because I had a lot to do with the era of time that it aired. Right?
Yeah, I think also, and maybe this is also lost on the younger audience, but I feel like that there was so much like of the media at the time also was talking about, oh, Jerri, the evil Jerri, even like beyond like what's on the screen, if you're just watching the season.
Yeah, I mean, that was back in the time when Rocky.
Yeah, the tabloids.
When tabloids were the
like
social media.
Yeah.
That's what was going on. Like I would find out every week looking at the grocery store shelf what the media was saying that week about me. Like apparently I broke up Jeff Probst's marriage.
Oh my God.
I had
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yes.
And I had ex-boyfriends like selling stories about me to the tabloids for like $200. Like it was just a weird
$200.
Yeah, they didn't pay back.
Yeah.
Then. I think it's free now.
Yeah, get some self-respect, guys.
Come here. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Rocky, come here. Oh.
We're gonna see Rocky one way or the other.
I know. Hold on a second. Rocky, come here.
This has been a very fun interview with Jerri. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. We love to read your comments. Stephen Fishback and I will be back together Wednesday night for Survivor Know-It-Alls. And here's Rocky.
There's Rocky, who's very upset with me right now.
Why? Because it doesn't like that you're on a podcast?
I don't know. I think she thinks it's dinner time.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll let you go feed Rocky.
Isn't she adorable?
A very adorable dog. Why Rocky?
I don't know. Honestly, it was like, I think it was Roxy at one point, and then I knew someone who had a Roxy, and that dog was a pain in the ass. And then it just kind of morphed into Rocky with an I.
Okay.
She's a girl. And I mean, my name's
ROCKI? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you still have, the same amazing laugh, Jerri.
Aw, thanks. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jerri, thank you so much for making the time. This was such a delight. I think the listeners are going to really love it too. Appreciate you all checking out my conversation with Jerri. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Yay. See you.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.